just need to feel nothing to make it easier to turn away and leave. Maybe we're fan and flame, so why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore. I can't hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away, away, yeah. I don't wanna crash anymore. I can't hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away.
Here in Monza, and it is a race opening victory for Eve. I'm still battling with Kuba.
Said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come, I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices and guide you. Give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you on.
But he's gone wide! He's going incredible!
Ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. So quiet, try to hide it. If a new thought formed, we would swallow it down. Empty stares, never question the illusion. If you play alone, they will leave you to drown. Stand up, 'cause we are the movement. Don't stop, straight into the dark. Wake up, 'cause this is the moment. And every fire starts with a spark. A revolution. Stand up, 'cause we are the movement. Don't stop, straight into the dark. Wake up, 'cause this is the moment. And every fire starts with a spark. A revolution.
Feel like we're falling away. Maybe I just need to feel nothing to make it easier to turn away and leave. Maybe we're fan and flame, so why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore.
Hello, and welcome to FRLT Season 5, and it is time for round number 5 of the season. I've been waiting to say that for a while. I can't lie, I have been waiting to say that for a little while. But we are back here today, and it is time for Australia. As you can see, 5.278 kilometers, 3.279 miles, 14 turns. Very flat track. I will mention a very flat track. Yeah. Interesting track. I will say very interesting. Track indeed, because for me, I look at it and I go, it's decently flat, but it's got that difficulty of still having a wide range of corners. You know, it's still got a varying amount of corners, which make it incredibly difficult. You know, so I can't lie, you know, it has got that element to it. I do apologise, everyone. I am currently looking for drivers right now. Usually I wouldn't. So, I do apologise. I am currently trying to find people because some people are having some difficulties with getting into the lobby. I'm not sure how you can have some difficulties with getting into the lobby. So yeah, so there's a couple of things. I will get to it in a second. I do apologise because I'm having to, I am having to try to invite a lot of people right now. Because there's a bunch of people who haven't joined when they're meant to be joining. Like usual, nobody joins when they're meant to be joining, which is just great. Really helps me out on these days, you know, when we've only got 13 drivers in, which is really frustrating that in about 10 minutes we've only gotten 13. I do apologise. I am currently looking for a bunch of drivers who for some reason aren't online. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why EA is just being really difficult with me today and just won't let me invite some people, which is really strange to see happen. I'm quite confused. I think everybody should be in now, I think. We got up to 16, so there's a couple more people that have gotten into the server. Looking for one person who currently So I'm not sure whether I'm just being blind or I just can't find these people for the life of me. Strange. I'm very confused what this game is doing to me today. I do apologise, everyone. Usually the game isn't this bad. I'm not sure why it is this bad today. I'm having a really strange day with this game. I've had a really strange week with F1 25. To be honest, I've had a really strange week. I can't find this one driver. Can't find this one driver right now, which is really starting to get on my nerves. I'm not sure why I can't find this one driver. So my list just isn't changing, which is strange. Very strange day. A very, very strange day nonetheless. I do apologise, everyone, that I'm very quiet. I'm just trying to find this one guy. It's just such a pain. This game has been such a pain today. I'm slowly going through each person to find this person. How am I not finding them? I'm really confused. Okay, so we're gonna so we're gonna go in about 4 minutes. I'm not sure why this game is being such a pain today. I'm not sure why. So what we'll do is we'll move on to looking at the calendar. We've gone through China, Austria, Imola, and Great Britain. This week we come to, of course, Australia. Then it's the Christmas break. It's a long Christmas break till then. Until Singapore in round 6. Then round number 7 goes to Monza, then Brazil, then the Netherlands, then Las Vegas and Japan to go to the finale. Looking at the standings were actually very interesting after last week. SET continue to push off in the championship lead, only leading by 11 points. So as Ventari close in with a P1, P3 finish, first win for Ventari in FRLT. OMB had a tough race and start to lose their grip on the championship. VRE having a decent comeback last weekend, coming back up with a P6 finish, another 8 points in their pockets. AERT also follow in with a decent finish. They also pull up to 29 points. AZR, though, with a very strong finish, getting themselves up into 6th in the Constructors and now just 1 point behind 5th. ESPL did not race last week. So, yeah, it's a very interesting day for some reason. The game is being very interesting. I do apologise to everyone who's sitting here waiting for us to get going. I'm very sorry. Yeah, I do apologise to everyone. We have got 18 in. We're just missing 2 drivers now, and that's the AZR drivers who we're missing. So I'm quite confused why the game's being really buggy today. Um, so yeah, so we're currently, I've given some extra time just for like 2 guys to top in. So we're giving a few guys a bit of time because there's game problems. So we will go in about a minute's time though, but still we were trying. We're trying, bro. We're trying, guys. I do apologize. The game's just so gone. Yeah. So we'll look back at the standings quickly because if I'm being honest, it's actually very interesting because now it looks like the race has started to sort of grow. VRE kind of looking out of contention now for first. Still, I'd say a chance at third in the stand. If you look at each team, XPG, the teams out of title contention, I'd say unless they have just some ridiculous comeback for next race. And is the teams that just don't really have a chance unless they just basically 1-2 every single race. That is XPG, DLX, and if I'm being honest, FCT and ESPL, I'd say definitely the bottom 4 teams are out of the championship chance, especially with ESPL scoring no points last week. Left them kind of way off now, 81 points behind. The chance of recovering that is gone. But I'd also say the same for AZR, and I think AZR and AERT are also sitting in the same category, that sort of the bottom 6 teams just aren't there now. Only, I'd say, really VRE are probably the last team to be in contention, as they are just below that 50-point gap to the leaders. So there is a chance. And we are finally readying up. But yeah, I'm still looking at the standings. We'll go back to them quickly. I think it's very much just the top 4 now in title contention, unless AERT or AZR decide to have like 4 or 5 race wins in a row. That's the only time I could really see them winning, is if they win at least, the final 4 out of the final 6 races. That's the only real time. But definitely I can see at the moment, I can definitely see 4th being minimum at the moment, being the absolute lowest you could be, with VRE down in 4th for title contention. They're within 50 points, and that is redeemable in 6 races, but it's going to, in 7 official races. So that's, yeah. So again, I do apologise to teams, and I do apologise to all of you guys for the really late start, the incredibly 10-minute late start compared to usual. But we are going now. I do look at, I'm looking at sort of all the teams around the grid, and I look at, especially at the moment, I look at, I really look at the team of AZR with a strong finish last week. That over 10 points last week. Really pushed them ahead up into 6th. They're challenging for 5th in the standings. But I think we've seen this season that there is a gap between... There's a really sort of big gap between... first, even down to 5th, there's a really big gap. I know it's 101 points to just 29, so I know there's already that 82-point gap. Sorry, 72-point gap, if I can do maths for once. I know it's 72 points, but... and the first driver out on track is actually going to be Haquin Vigley, the man who took pole last week, actually. So it's going to be very interesting to see. He's got to be careful. And out of the pits he comes. First driver out on track. We've already got 4 drivers all coming out onto the track. We have an ESPL, an FCT, and both VREs out on track. Very similar to last week. We've also got another driver on his way in. On his way out, I should say. That's going to be Manolo on his way out. But yeah, I do think that this season, has shown that there's I think very much assists and no assists have kind of been almost the reverse of each other, I'd say. You know, they've kind of reversed from last season, because last season assists was quite spaced out and it was no assists that was incredibly close. And this season it's kind of spaced, it's changed around, it's swapped, where no assists is a bit more spaced out. Still 4 teams most likely within contention, even after this race, even then still in contention to win the championship. Still 4, maybe a 5th or 6th team, but at the moment mathematically and point scoring wise, out of the first 4 races of the season, there's only really 4 teams who could mathematically win based off of their average per race. But the first driver to cross the line is part of one of those teams. So Quinn Vigley for VRE, heading down the pit straight towards turn number 1. He's going to have a McLaren. He's going to have, of course, an SET right there. As he was very nice through turn 1, not pushing it too much. He's using some of that battery down the straight. Into turn number 3, you got to get the car in. You can see a little bit not so confident through turn 3. Very unconfident. Now heading up towards the right-hander, getting the car through. Very nice from Quinn. Out of the first sector, it's a 26.0 for the first sector, which is, by the way, quicker than we saw in any of the first lap times in assists. So already proven to be very quick. We know that no assist has been about 2 to 3 tenths quicker on average across this season. So it's actually been very quick. And through that middle sector, you can see, whoa, and a big mistake and invalidation for Haquin Vigley. Who's next, actually? It is actually going to be Darva Kupzik, who also runs off the track as well. So definitely VRE struggling with high-speed cornering. But as you saw, still, even then, still pushing on. Went a bit wide. Heading towards the final corner. And that, of course, line, I should say. It's going to be a 1 minute 15.594 for the first lap time of the evening. And we see Marcos Guerrero can't beat that. Rayan Camporsi, he can beat that because he does a 1 minute 15.4. Manolo is in the 16.7. So to be fair, we're getting some decently quick times already in the 15s. We saw some 14s, of course. I think we saw 14.6 in assists. So that was the pole time of 15.6. Who's next to cross the line? That's the question. We have a Williams coming up to the line. That's Baptiste Van Coy. Who's coming up to the line? Then it's Steve. And then it is going to be Rares Toma, who has a bit of a moment. And he crossed the line multiple times. Pit lane entry. I'm not sure what's going on there. He's clearly having some connection problems. He's having a lot of connection problems. And across the line, Mars goes P4. 15.8, so definitely a bit off of the pace from AERT this evening. Not where they want to be. Now we've got Benjamin coming up to line. Next, where's he going to go? He goes to a 15.5 and onto the front row. Not bad from himself. You can see both VREs on their way into the pits. We've got Alberto. Is he going to be joining his teammate on the front row? Is he going to go quickest? Or is he going to go behind his teammate? He goes behind his teammate, but also in a 15.5. So very solid there from himself. Marcos Alvarez goes P1 at 1 minute 15.3 is now provisional pole. The SET's a bit off the pace at the moment, 15.5, and both in the 15.5s actually, so a bit off the pace from themselves. We've got Tom Wolfgram, Ventari this week, not going out early, actually going out late, as Baptiste Van Coy! 1 minute 15.1. He finds over 0.2 of a second and to provisional pole. We saw AZR's taken 3 poles in a row and a hat-trick of victories and assists. Will they take a pole and a win here in no assists? Are they going to wrap up? They might become the first team ever to wrap up an entire track for a season with poles and victories. It's going to be very interesting to see. They've definitely got the pace behind them as Gabriel Moya invalidates, but Tom Wolfgram doesn't. But there's Theo, who's coming around the final corner. You can see a bit of just the rear not gripping at all on that Sauber. And across the line, he does a 15.6, but he knows he's lost a bit of time there. And he knows there's a lot more time to be found. And we're going to look to Tom Wolfgram now. We know he's got the pace. He's gotten a few podiums this season. Can he do it again? He missed out last week. Can he do it this week? Tom Wolfgram is coming up the line. What can he do when he crosses the line? Is he going to go fastest of all? No, he's not, but he's going to go on the front row and also finds a 15.1, 400ths of a second away from provisional pole. So incredibly close from himself. I've got to say, very close. And now we've got Antonio Jesus making his way round to start his lap. Only driver on a flying lap right now. Looking pretty strong. DLX needs some points. Currently 9th in the standings. They've not done well in the standings. Racing sort of every race. They've not done well. 9th in the standings. Not where you want to be. Ooh, a bit of a knock against the wall there. And it's a 26.6. So already 6/10 off the pace, by the way. So already putting... And that was off of David Kupzik's time. Not David Kupzik. He's far off, actually. Would be currently in about a 16. So Antonio not having a lot of pace, but definitely stronger down the straight at 43.6. Definitely a lot faster down the straight. That was quicker than what we saw Haquin achieving. So maybe DLX pushing for the straight line speed more than anything else. As I think we just saw Ryan Camporsi cross the line. Unless he's starting a lap. Nope, he just crossed the line. And coming around to the final corner, Antonio Jesus. Can he cross the line in a good position, or will he drop to the bottom? Where is he going to go? He's going to go P13, so ahead of both XPG drivers. So very interesting there. We got Haquin Vigley on another lap, on an out lap, should I say. Then followed by, of course, that's Benjamin and Marcos Guerrero. ESPL, of course, missed last race. And as it stands, because they missed last race, they are on their first warning of ejection. They're the first team to actually achieve that this season, is to be on their first warning of ejection. That comes basically when you don't race in one of the races. And so ESPL, they've had some very interesting views this season and been very loud in the driver's paddock and, well, in the team's paddock altogether, just behind the scenes. A very loud team wanting to be heard, and they're the first team to actually get a warning of ejection. So I got to be careful as now Manolo improves to a 16.3, though it's not the lap time he was looking for at all. Ryan Camporsi is going to be going for another run, so he definitely feels like he's got another run in him. Then it's David Kupzik who's going to be behind him. Then who is it next? Then it is Antonio. Then it's going to be who's actually coming across the line next? It's going to be Mars. Then we've got Gabriel Moya. He's making his way around. I'm just going through all the drivers to see who's next. Then it's going to be Ken Fisher, who's slowly making his way around. Then it's Haquin Vigley. So is Haquin going to come across some traffic at the end of his lap? Luckily, no. Ken Fisher gets moving quite nicely in time, and he's got a lot of space. Now, Haquin Vigley up to line. Where is he going to go? Is he going to get another good position? Yes, he is! Haquin Vigley, a 14.991 provisional pole from VRE once again this season. It's another provisional pole. They have one pole to their name, or I think two now. And Benjamin comes across the line. He improves. He goes onto the front row as well, which is very good to see. I think we just saw Marcos Guerrero improve on his lap in P12. We're waiting to see the next driver. That's going to be Reyes Toma, who's making his way to the line. As Ryan Camporsi comes in as he invalidates his lap. Then we've got David Kupzik, who also invalidated his lap, so he comes into the pits. And I've got to invite somebody because still I can't invite Justin for some reason. I'm not sure why the game won't show him up on my list. Because I'm looking for him. He's not on this list because he's not added me on Steam. As the game's decided that it wants to show me him. No, he's just not on the list at all. He's just not on the list. I do apologise. Apologies for looking away from the screen. Tom Wolfgram and Gabriel Moya, P4, P5. So, looking good as Marcos Guerrero goes P6. The ESPL getting back into this season a little bit more. Whereas Toma going slowly around the track. As he pulls into the pit lane, he feels like he's done. So, nobody able to beat the man of Quinn Vigley in the middle runs. So far, nobody's been able to beat that lap time. As Robin Lang-Bush comes into the pits. Mars into the pits as well. Alberto has invalidated, but he's going for another lap. So we're going to be waiting a little bit longer. As Alvarez, and we see, I think that is Gabriel Moya, who also comes into the pits. Antonio's making his way around. Baptiste Van Koy, though, is looking very speedy. He's getting a little bit of slipstream down the pit straight. Is he going to go P1? Yes, he is! And by a mile! Baptiste Van Koy, 1 minute 14.684. He finds over 0.3 of a second in his lap time. And that, I have no words for that lap time. That is an incredible lap from the AZR driver. And we see Genius Segura. He's failed to get his lap in. He's one of 2 drivers yet to get in a lap time. We've got Alberto, who's also struggling. OMB going through another bit of a tough evening again this season. Back-to-back races of tough evenings. But Antonio is improving by 0.2 of a second on his lap. That's going to keep him, though, as it stands, in P15. So he's not going to find any time. Whereas Toma has disconnected. It's up to his teammate, though, to get him back in. Are we going to see Antonio cross the line? Is he going to improve in this final sector? You know, you can't lie. The gap at the moment, massive. 1.7 seconds it sits at the moment between 1st and 17th. As Antonio's going to lower that lap time down a bit by 3.5 of a second. He found a lot of lap time, actually. Just misses out on P14, but he lowers the lap time by about another 1.5. So it's quite nice. Remember, grid lap time is actually based off of an average. At the moment, it's really just XPG dragging down the average lap time and the gap, because currently it'd be under a second between 1st and 15th, but then it jumps to 1.5 then it jumps up by 0.6, just over half a second, then to 16th. So I've got to say it's a pretty large gap at the moment between first to last here tonight. XPG again looking like they're going to be at the back of the grid. Yeah, it's proving to be an interesting one. First driver out for their final runs with 3 minutes and 35 seconds left on the clock. Is Ryan Camporsi. He's making his way out. 1 minute 15.436. This is his lap time. He's P9 on the grid at the moment. But I've got to say, a couple of teams really struggling this evening, and that team that's really struggling is SET, 10th and 12th at the moment. 1 minute 15.5. They couldn't improve in their middle runs. And that's going to be a worrying sign for SET. They lead the championship, and with their championship rivals of OMB and Ventari ahead of them, at least with Alberto also being sandwiched between the 2 SET drivers, it's worrying that 3 out of the 4 rival drivers are way up the grid, or all inside of the top 5, 5th, 4th, and 3rd at the moment. Especially Ventari, just 11 points behind the championship leaders, and they are 4th and 5th. They'd be taking home 21 points as it stands this evening, while SET would bring home 2, and then on top of that, another 4 points. So just 6 points. So that would mean that, yes, Ventari currently would lead the championship out of round number 5 and through the winter break, which would mean, how long does their championship last for? We know the longest amount of time has been 12 races led in a Constructors' Championship. It might be longer. Who knows? I'll actually have to read that up and see how long in days was the longest championship lead. Oh! And Ryan Camporsi Who was that got in the way? That's going to be David Kupzik, who got in the way of Ryan Camporsi's lap. Very unlucky. And then, I think Ryan Camporsi got in the way of Gina Segura's lap a bit as well. So it's not just one, it's both of them. I'm not sure how to explain that. That was very strange to see. Maybe a bit difficult. Who knows? But David Kupzik might be looking at a qualifying ban. And VRE mostly will be looking at a qualifying ban for next week based off of that. And that's a very, very risky thing to do. And I think it's the second week in a row for VRE as well. I think it's the second time this season they've been involved in a qualifying blocking, which just is not good at all. Gina Segura, though, on his lap, he's going to face a lot of traffic now. He's got 5 cars in this final sector. And misses it a bit, but 2 of the cars get out of the way. And so that's a plus for him. He's going to be first driver to finish off his final run. You can see that Ryan Camporsi just slowed down all the way. You can see a lot of traffic going into this final sector. And coming across the line, Gina Segura does get in a lap, but it's slowest of all, and it's a bit disappointing. I think Benjamin is the next driver to be coming around, but he's got a lot of cars in the way. He's got a Ferrari that's in the way, but stays out of the way nicely, though I have to say that's all the Ferrari could do. But Benjamin comes in, feels his lap has been ruined too much, and I've got to say that's very unlucky for himself. Are we going to see Ryan Camporsi go again? Yes, we are. We're seeing Ryan Camporsi go for another lap, but it's Tom Wolfgram to be making his way on his lap. Didn't see his middle sector time, so he might be improving, he might not be, with just 12 seconds left on the clock. Benjamin now retires, our first driver to end their evening. Veras Tomo as well is going to be another driver who didn't get in a lap. A valid lap this evening. And up to the line, a little bit of a slide through the final corner. Is Tom Wolfgram going to be pushing for pole? He tries, but he finds the front row, and that's all he needs. But look at that. Joaquin Vigli finds the front row, then just beats him. Marcos Guerrero goes in 4th, and that's a solid position for himself. But Marcos Alvarez comes into the pits. He feels it's done. Steve F1 is going to come across the line next, but he's invalidated on his lap, and he's now done 5 drivers finished with their laps this evening. Gabriel Moya as well finished on his lap because he's invalidated. So another disappointment there. There comes Mars, who's going to improve by 37 thousandths, but it's not enough. David Kupzik to P6. Robin Langenbush goes into P5. I had to think of how to say that for a second, but Alberto comes across the line in 7th. Ken Fisher doesn't improve. He stays P13, so there's disappointment there. Antonio Jesus comes across the line. Manolo beats his teammate at the line. Ryan Camporsi jumps back up to P9 in the end. And that is everything, but it is Baptiste Van Koy, who didn't even have to improve on his final run to get pole, and that is AZR with another pole this season. And AZR on pole position here in Australia, and it's a straight set of poles for AZR in FRLT in Australia. They've gotten both poles that they could get. It's Baptiste Van Koy on pole, followed by Joaquin Vigli, Tom Wolfgram, Marcos Guerrero, Robin Langenbush, then Benjamin, Alberto, David Kupzik, Ryan Camporsi, Gabriel Moya, Marcos Alvarez, Mars, Ken Fisher, Theo, Antonio, Manolo, Steve, Genus, and Veras Tomo. But I've got to say, that just shows with Gabriel Moya, he was P5. Sorry, he was I think he was P5 or P4. And then he's dropped 5 to 6 places just from not getting in that final. That just shows how much of an improvement the grid has. Just to point out, just a sort of clear sign of how much it changes. So yeah, it's a tough one, but surprising from VRE. First time this season they've actually had both of their drivers qualify inside of the top 10 in the same race, which is a worrying statistic that I've noticed. It's a very worrying statistic to have that. I think it's the is it the first? No, they have done it. They have done it back in Austria. I just thought of that. Back in Austria, they also did that. But only second time in 5 races to do it. Out of the top 4, they're the only team. They have the least amount of top 10 starts. Least amount of top 5 starts as well. SET have had a double start on the front row. Same as Ventari. They've also had a double start. in the top 5. On those first 3 rows, they've, well, 2.5 really, they've been there. SCT, Venturi, and OMB all have been in that, have had both drivers, but still, VRE yet to have that. They've occupied the first 3 rows with both their drivers, but not the top 5 for both drivers. But VRE looking like they're going to have a very strong evening tonight. They look like they're going to be very strong. Could have a chance at the win, of course, starting on the front row again with Quinn Vigley just missing out on pole position. But we'll have to see. Does Baptiste Van Kooi have the same feeling or not? Let's wait and see. It looks like somebody's readied earlier, early, and I can hear that the lights are getting going for the race. And here we go. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in Australia for FRLT Season 5, round number 5 of no assists. And it is a great getaway from Polster to Baptiste Van Kooi. He takes the lead into turn 1, unrivaled by anybody. And it's a brilliant start. Alberto also jumping up the order incredibly well, already up to 5th place. And he's already battling further back. You can see he's under a bit of attack from Marcos Guerrero, who's trying to go round the outside through turn 3. He's unable to make the move. Looking further back, David Kupsik following through the chaos, as you can see. Benjamin having an awful start on his medium tyres. He's dropped down to P9 already, and that's backwards for one side of OMB and forwards for the other. But it's been a very good start from the pole sitter of Baptiste Van Kooi, who's already pulled half a second through the first 2 sectors of this opening lap. And it's been a good start for Baptiste Van Kooi, but it's also been a good start for Quinn Vigley, and a very clean start for all of the top 4 who've gotten away perfectly from their positions. No problems at all. So 4 constructors all inside with a chance of winning. The only outlier in this, because 3 of them are in the top 4 in the standings, it's only AZR who are 6th in the standings who are the outlier. As of course OMB not inside of this sort of full-on contention, but been a very good start, I've got to say, from Alberto on the hard tyres as well. He's gone for that alternative strategy. Looking at the tyres, everybody's on mediums except Alberto, Gabriel Moya, Theo, Gina Segura, and Marcos Alvarez. All on the same, but a good start. Ultimately, the best start on the grid has come from Steve, who's gone up 3 places. The worst start has come from Marcos Alvarez, who's dropped down 7 off of the race start. So, not been too good for himself. Ken Fisher battling his way up into the points paying positions, of course, into P12. That's 2 points now for SCT, but SCT looking very one-sided in the garage. It's not been the best of starts for SCT this evening, and in a very important championship-defining race going into the winter. Will SCT lead the championship? Of course, they won no assists last season. I think they led the remaining 8 races, actually. I think they led the final 7. Final 7 or 8 races. I think it was 7 races last season of the championship. So, and, you know, they've continued to lead this season as well. I think they've led all 5 races this season, if I actually stand correct. So, they might be sitting on 12 races already. They've led 4 races, shall we say, I think they have led all 4 races this season, so they have gotten up to 11 starts so far. I think leading the championship, 11 races in the lead of the Constructors' Championship. And if they continue to lead the championship out of round 5, that will be a 12th race equaling the longest championship leaders. We see some battling further back. And it's between Mars and Ken Fisher for position, and Mars dropping back. AERT having a really poor evening, you know, in the race where they really needed a good finish, where they needed to build up some places, and, you know, 29 points, 1 point ahead of AZR. They're now down to 12th and 19th. So at the moment, not looking like they're in the championship battle. You know, for that 5th in the standings, only 2 points at the moment coming from this evening as it would stand. So, 2 points, it's not enough for AERT, only going to bring them to 31 points. They're doing much better in their assists campaign than their no assist campaign, but it's a strange one. It was a bit of the opposite that we saw last season. They were a bit better in their no assist campaign than their assists campaign. So, definitely a strange one to this season to see. How AERT are quite different this season, but it's the same for a lot of teams. SET proving to be just as dominant as they were last season. OMB also back in it again. They battled for the championship. They're kind of a little bit further back, but they've definitely had a decent start to their season. New team, VRE getting started off relatively well, still in the championship chance, but having those weak points which have really lost them points in the championship. New team of Ventari in there. Not a lot of teams we saw from last season. I will mention not a lot of teams for last season. AERT, SET, OMB, VRE. I think that's it. Only 4 out of the 10 teams are from last season. Of course, some teams not racing this season. We saw EVR not continue over to this season. Some teams don't even exist anymore that used to race, so it's a pretty weird one to see. I think we saw them, and I think another team stopped racing as well. So can't remember who, but somebody else stopped racing. So a bit sad, but it's the way it goes. But Baptiste Van Koy getting a couple of laps led for AZR this evening. But I have to say, his incredible pace in qualifying not exactly translating over to the race here, because Queen Vigley and all of the top 4, I'd say at the moment, really keeping up on pace. Alberto's starting to drop off a bit, but everybody else really keeping up well on the pace, which is a strange one to see today. I did not think we'd be seeing many people keep up with Baptiste Van Koy, and there might even be a move on down this straight for Quinn Vigley. We might be seeing a move any moment now. Heading down round the curve straight, you can see how powerful DRS is. Down to 1/4 of a second of a gap. We know VRE, though, have been struggling through high-speed corners. That's the thing I've really noticed. VRE struggling through high-speed corners. AZR really being strong in the medium and high-speed corners. But they do seem weaker in the low-speed corners. They seem very slow in this low-speed corners. I've actually got some statistics to tell you. They're currently 7th in low speed. In medium speed, they're 2nd, and in high speed, they're 1st. So at the moment, and top speed, they're also sitting in 1st in top speed without DRS. And there goes David Kupzik, by the way, on Marcos Guerrero for P6. So maybe VRE getting their championship in order a little bit. They would be starting to catch teams like Ventari. They would catch Ventari. They would catch OMB. They'd also catch SET as well. So VRE might actually be coming out as the top scoring team this evening, championship-wise, which would be a very strange thing to see. Would be to see VRE do that. They haven't done that all season, even though they won the opening race of Season 5. Even though they won back in China, they haven't actually scored the most points in any race. That's been held by SET, who have led the championship from round 1. SET, I think, round 1, OMB round 2, round 3 SET, round 4 Ventari. So it's been led by everyone else. But David Kupzik having a bit of a battle with Marcos Guerrero again. And look at this! Oh! And Gabriel Moya getting in a bit of hot water there with David Kupzik. But David Kupzik's just lost 2 places because of the move from Marcos is it Marcos Guerrero? Yes, it was Marcos Guerrero. His move started a chain reaction there. So maybe not very smart to try to make. So a very strange few moments we've just seen of battling, but it just shows once one, it's kind of like dominoes a bit. One knocks the other, everybody starts to tumble a bit. But you can see the gap has really grown. Alberto just kind of holding on for dear life, while P6, 2.5 seconds behind now. It's sort of the top 5 splitting off into their own path. But it's 5 different constructors, half the grid battling for the win at the moment in the top 5. The rest kind of just mooching around a bit further back. Here comes David Kupzik. He's under attack from Gabriel Moyo again. And in the end, he has to fall in behind Gabriel Moya, but not been a great lap or two. Lost 3 places in a single lap, but Marcos Guerrero also struggling quite a bit in lap time. Manolo gets another 3-second time penalty. All of the top 4 with penalties. Nobody else. Interesting to see nobody else with penalties. Is it just me, or does it look like David Kupzik has some damage? He looks like he's got a lot of understeer in the Red Bull. He looks very slow during the corners. We saw through the right-hander before the hairpin that he looked very slow and just huge amounts of understeer. So, not sure whether it's that or anything. But Manolo, whoa, another slide on the rear. But Manolo retires, our first retirement of the session, and he is done. And that's disappointment for XPG. Another retirement this season. They scored their first points last race in Silverstone as well, so they got 4 points on the board out of round number 4. Yeah, outside of that, not been too great for them. But yeah, David Kupzik definitely struggling a bit with his tyres now. He's lost a bit of time, but it looks like he's gotten everything back in order a little bit. But still, even then. But Baptiste Van Koy, I'm questioning how he's held on to the lead for this long. I really am, as now Ken Fisher makes his way past David Kupzik for position. But I'm really questioning how he's held onto the lead just for this long from Baptiste Van Koy. About to finish the 8th lap in the lead of the race. He hasn't lost a single position. But there goes Marcos Guerrero, who goes off into the gravel. He's off in the gravel. And he's down to P12. And that is some disappointment for himself. And again, another move. Same corner, same move, but just not working again. I'm not sure what Marcos Guerrero is really trying to make a move on. But ESPL just dropping through the order now. Both ESPL drivers just not getting anywhere in this race. Just going backwards as Steve now also retires from the race. XPG suffer another double DNF. The gap growing, by the way, between P5 and P6 now up to 3.2 seconds. Another 0.8 found in the last 2 laps. So it's growing quite a bit in this race, I've got to say. It's not working out for them at all. And like I said, it's also not working out for AERT. I said this earlier, but I'm going to say it again. 1 point for AERT. Their worst finish of the season, and actually worst finish in FRLT this season out of their 10 performances. Adding in assists in there as well would be their worst performance in both campaigns. So AERT definitely looking at a tough season. Not working out for them here in Australia's Theo Resselet and Marcos Guerrero get 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Gabriel Moya makes his way up to 7th. And that's another position gained for himself. And a good comeback. His hard tyres really starting to work now as he makes his way through the moment. He'll be looking at about P6 in this race at best. So proving to be an interesting one. Benjamin now into the pits. So some pit stops going on there. But now Gabriel Moya chases P6 with all the speed he's got. The hard tyres really working out. Alternative strategy coming in is always something you've got to think about, is the alternative strategy. But the problem is now, can he get past Ryan Capozzi relatively quickly, or is it going to take him longer? Because Ryan Capozzi actually has some decent pace on worn mediums. He's just a bit slower at the moment than Alberto. He's actually gained a bit of time in the last lap. You can see even Gabriel Moya is struggling a bit with overheating on his rear tyres. I think that's something that everybody's really struggling with in this race. As we already reached the double digits, lap 10 out of 29. We're at about that third of the way through the race now, which is always a point to look at. And now, there goes Gabriel Moya for P6, and there goes Joaquin Vigley as well for the lead of the race. VRE for the first time this evening. Marcos Alvarez gets retires on track, and that actually means that it's a virtual safety car as Joaquin Vigley leads away here in Australia on lap 10. First lap led by anybody else than AZR, but he decides to come in. Joaquin Vigley pulls the trigger, and I think it's a perfect time because it means it's terrible news for drivers like Gabriel Moya, because he's now going to have to... He's losing time because these guys are getting quick pit stops in this race. These guys are getting quick pit stops, but he's not going to have that advantage as he's continued this race. But where is Joaquin Vigley going to come out? He's going to come out in P5. So look at that. All of that, where he probably would have come out was P12 or P14 if he had stopped during full race speed, but because it's under virtual safety car here, he's come out in P5. So for Alberto, for Gabriel Moya, for Theo, and for Segura, the problem they've all got now is they've all just lost out heavily because of that. And now we're back up to racing speed, but everybody's just lost out because of that one moment. You know, it's really bad. Tyres, everyone's on hards. And only the top 4 are yet to stop in this race. Everybody's on hard tyres. I could tell you that with ease. Everybody's on the hard tyres. Antonio gets another 3-second time penalty. But now, look at this. Look at the pace difference between the leaders and the teams further behind. Segura also gets a 3-second time penalty. Is he going to battle for this position? Or is he going to just kind of allow Joaquin Vigli to not really have to battle his way past the Ferrari? We'll have to wait and see. On the brakes, Joaquin Vigli really waiting to make his way past the Ferrari, giving it some time. It's allowed Baptiste Van Koy to get onto the back of him. But now, heading down the pit straight, is this a strategy to get past the Ferrari while Baptiste Van Koy can't? No, it's not. And Baptiste Van Koy makes his way past as well. He's able to follow through on the move as well. But Joaquin Vigli up another place as Tom Wolfgram also follows behind. But look at this. Robin Langenbush also pushes his way past into P7. And it's a solid move, especially in the race against their championship rivals. Gabriel Moya gets a 3-second time penalty. And that's everything that SCT would have been wanting to hear this evening. Is one of their rivals getting a penalty. And all of this starts to fall into SCT's hands. As now Ryan Camporsi as well. He's closed up quite nicely. As now, there goes Baptiste Van Koy on Joaquin Vigli for P4 and the provisional lead of the race. In the end, only one lap led, I believe, by VRE, if I stand correct. One lap led. The rest all led by AZR. But now OMB have gotten their fair share of laps led. So we're getting our third team of the evening leading a few laps as they continue to lead. Gabriel Moya as well. Theo Resselet stays out. But how much? What is the gap now between the leaders? It's currently 8.6 seconds. But you can see, look at this. It's just coming down massively. We'll keep this timing on instead, just to show you the gap and how much it decreases. Look at that. 1/10 and a half found as Benjamin just set the fastest lap of the race. But the gap is just falling and falling. Except not for Baptiste Van Koy, who's not finding a huge amount of time. He's actually been a bit slower through this first sector. But he's bringing down the gap slowly, but he's really slow. Reres Toma now retires, and that is another retirement. 4th retirement of the evening already in 12 laps completed. But Baptiste Van Koy leads. 8.2 seconds of the gap between him and the leader. So there's not a huge gap. It would put him out in the lead when they stop in this race. See everybody rather close. Ryan Caporsi's been able to close up onto the back of this as well. Ken Fisher now makes his move past Segura for P9 in this race. But again, look at the gap. 8 seconds coming below that 8 seconds. It's not come down a lot this lap though. Only by about half a second. So it's not the gap I think Baptiste Van Koy would have been looking for. It's, you know, even a second isn't really enough. He needs to be closing that by about 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap to really catch the hard tyre runners off guard. You can see Theo Resselet further in front, who's of course a lot closer, only 2 seconds in front of Baptiste Van Koy at the moment. So it's looking very close. For the lead, you can see Baptiste Van Koy's actually had a really good final sector and has been able to pull away from Joaquin Vigli quite nicely, but Joaquin using a bit of battery to close back in within that second. Is he going to be within a second at the DRS zone? Is he? We're going to have to wait and see. Has he actually been able to do it? But here comes Baptiste Van Koy. He's drained his battery, by the way, completely just to get past Theo in this straight. And now Joaquin Vigli, he's going to follow through with the same, but he's going to actually do an easier move where he doesn't even have to really battle for it. So proving to be very easy there for himself. Yellow flag in the middle sector. That looks like for David Kupzik, who's lost his front wing end plates. How has he lost his front wing end plates? Oh, and he goes really deep. What's happened here? It looks like there's possibly been contact between him and DLX. Very strange. I'm gonna be very interested to see what's actually gone on there between everybody. But look at this! Oh! Tom Wolfgram's round! What has happened here? What has happened? Robin Langenbush now finds himself way off and on his own. He's now got both FCT drivers behind him for good luck in this race. But, oh my god, for Ventari, their championship chances might be getting slashed massively by that one collision. For Tom Wolfgram, anything is now going to be better than nothing as now Haquin Vigley once again takes the lead of the race. And, well, provisional lead of the race and gets past Baptiste Van Koy for P3 in this race back onto the podium. You see, he only sits now about 3 seconds away from the race leader. You see, he's been catching the race leader a lot more. He's been definitely pushing Baptiste through. So will we see VRE achieve their second win of the season, become the first team, I think, this season to actually get multiple race wins? Are we going to see that? Of course, VRE won round 1. I think it was OMB who won round 2, and it was SCT in round 3, and then round 4 was, of course, Ventari. So we've had 4 different winners this season. Or are we going to see our 5th winner of AZR? Are we going to see AZR become the 5th team to win this season? Even in season 4, the legendary season 4, where we had, I think, 7 or 8 teams win races. In 10 races, I think we saw 7 teams win. I think it was 7 teams. 6 teams won across the season, the most ever. Even in that season, we didn't see 5 different teams winning the opening 5 races. So there goes Haquin Vigley as he makes his way past Gabriel Moya for position. You could see Baptiste Van Koy all over the back of that Red Bull. But we saw 6 teams win in 10 races. This season, we've already seen 4 teams win in 4, which is the same as season 4. But if we see a 5th team win in 5, that will be a new record for most different winners in different races. And that will already be pushing the record of 6 different teams winning races in a season. That will already that will already be one behind the record. So we're going to wait and see. I will say, Season 3 was a strange season when you look at race winners, and you can see Haquin Vigley already all over the back of Alberto for position. Is he going to send it? No, he's not sending it. He's waiting behind. He's waiting behind very nicely to make the move down the straight, maybe defending his position. I think this is Haquin's strategy, is just defend his position while he can, wait behind Alberto for the DRS so he can defend down this straight, and he's actually timed it really well. But has Baptiste Van Koy got the straight line speed over Haquin Vigley? Maybe he does, maybe he does. Oh! And in the wall! Baptiste Van Koy gets put in the wall, and he's got wing damage, and that's the front wing end plate that has come off for Baptiste Van Koy. Oh my god! What have we just seen? Did he try to fit through a gap that wasn't there? What did he try? We've got battling further back. Gabriel Moya dropping through the order. Robin Langenbush now taking up to P4. And there goes Baptiste Van Koy. His race chances ruined, but Haquin Vigley leading the race as Alberto gets a 10-second time penalty. OMB starting to fall out of contention this season for the championship, starting to fall away this season. But Haquin Vigley now leads by nearly 3 seconds. It's very much his race to lose. Baptiste Van Koy retires! He's retired, he's done. The pole sitter has retired, and that is disappointment for AZR. No points from this race. The point for pole, and that will be it for VRE. That will be it. Haquin Vigley now leads by over 3 seconds this evening in tonight's race. Absolutely insane. As now he continues to grow that lead. We know Robin Langenbush hasn't got the pace. He hasn't had it all race. He's been about 5th quickest on average this race. So we know he hasn't got the pace to compete really with a Quinn Vigley. But what are we going to see now? What are we going to see change till the end of tonight's race? What's going to happen now? Sorry guys, my mic just unplugged itself, so I am very sorry. Whoa, side by side, and luckily just in time. Whoa! Robin Langenbush slides and drifts through the fast left-hander, and he lets his teammate pass. Oh my god, thank god my mic. I was able to plug my mic back in just in time for that masterpiece of a move. Holy. You see, for Quinn Vigley, that's actually a plus for him this race, because that's actually gained him another half a second. Well, about half a second now over Ryan Camporsi. So if there's any penalty for that incident, he might get away with it. We saw the same incident happen. It was a 5-second time penalty in assists. Exact same sort of way, in exact same straight. We saw it in assists on Wednesday. As now, Marcos Guerrero getting overtaken by quite a few different drivers as he's now dropping through the order. He's been on those hard tyres a lot longer. If you look as well, he's been on those tyres for 9 laps. Benjamin's been on them for 1 more. He's been about the same. But we know ESPL aren't that quick on track. We know they are a bit slower than everyone else. Alberto up to P10 now as... Whoa, that's Theo Resile. He's had a bit of a moment. David Kupsik, though, kind of on his own with Gina Segura, but sitting 17 seconds away from P12. I'm not sure what happened between the two of them. But Quinn Vigley, oh my god, he's grown the gap even more. 4.5 seconds in the lead of this race. So if it's the same 5-second time penalty, he might survive and take the victory tonight for VRE. Have to wait and see. These three all battling over the podium here might get a bit interesting as we get on with this race. As now we watch, I think the closest battle on track we actually have right now is actually further back. It's between Mars, Benjamin, Tom Wolfgram and Marcos Guerrero over P5. Mars on an incredible comeback this evening. Where is his tyres at? He's at the same... He's actually on the same life of tyres. So I've got to say, Mars... He might actually have a chance today to pull off an incredible finish. He might actually have a chance, but we've got another move. Ken Fisher now makes the move for P2. That gap is now over 5 seconds to the race leader. I think it's the second time this season we've seen the gap that big, but there goes Robin Langenbush, who goes deep. Whoa, Ray and Compulsi nearly not keeping the car together. Look at this. Whoa, running off track. Leaving the space. Still leaving the space. I have to say, very respectful there from Ray and Compulsi for leaving a decent amount of space. And oh, that's someone who's gone round. It's Mars. Mars has gone round, and that is just disappointing for ART. Their day just getting worse. Oh my god. AERT, double DNF, same as XPG. Terrible day for them. I do apologise, everybody. My mic keeps on unplugging from my PC. I'm not sure why it keeps on doing it, but the gap now 5.8 seconds between first and second in this race. Marcos Guerrero now gets past Tom Wolfgram, who I think just had a bit of a moment. I think he's just had a really large moment. He's having some connection problems. Keeps on lagging backwards, so not sure whether he's facing a couple of connection problems this evening. As teammates swap for position. Not too bad. Very nicely done between Robin Langenbush and Ken Fisher. Very nicely done from SET. Of course, they're going to grow their championship lead out of this race. Substantially grow their championship lead as well. 8 points, 8 and 5. So it's going to be 13 points for Ventari, but it's going to be a whopping 28. So Ventari 11 points behind. Oh, Ventari 11 points behind. Going to become 26 points out of Australia, so the gap grows again. So yeah, gap will grow 27 points. You can see the gap in this race is growing because it's almost at 7 seconds already. I think very much the SET duo and Ray and Capolsi have now focused on getting P2 and getting a solid finish rather than chasing the lead, since it is so far away, that chance, such a low chance of getting into the lead with 5 laps to go in this race. Soon to be 5 full laps to go. I have to gain over a second a lap. They'd have to be outpacing they'd have to be outpacing Haquin Vigley by almost 2 seconds a lap to actually get in front by the end of the race. So the laps are coming down, and VRE set to have their second win of the season, become the first team this season to get multiple victories. Haquin Vigley's first ever victory as well in FRLT. He raced all last season. He got a bit of a name last season, I will say, from in season 5. He got sort of, there's a bit of a nickname, there was a bit of a name going around with him, that guy who's always on the podium but never gets a win. That was kind of how it went. I can't remember exactly what the name actually was, but he was very much just the podium sitter. He couldn't seem to get a victory, and it's been the same this season. He struggled actually to even get on the podium this season. It's been very competitive in pace compared to last season, much closer. All the top 3 teams very dominant on pace. But still, even through that, VRE set to get another podium to their season, set to get their second win of the season. I've got to say, it's a win and a half, because he leads by almost 8 seconds in tonight's race. Just so dominant to see. from a driver of Haquin's caliber, you don't expect any less, to be honest. You don't expect any less from VRE. They've proven they can win once, and they're proving that they can win again. I think VRE have shown very clearly that they want to get back up into the championship battle. They're on for 2 points with David, possibly even more than that, depending on the penalties. We'll have a look at the penalties actually now. David will actually get up into... Will he? He will just sit in P11, so he will get 3 points on top of Haquin's 18, so there will be 21 points in it for VRE, their best points finish of the season, and really help them out actually against OMB, who currently will get 10 and 4, so 14 points. So they will gain a lovely 7 points on OMB. They'll also gain a lot on Ventari, who are set to only gain 7 and then 13 as well. So they're also set to gain 8 points on Ventari in the championship. And also massively gap AERT, FCT, and of course AZR. So they should be set. They should be okay, to be honest. Yeah, so the penalties, 6 seconds for Marcos Guerrero, 3 seconds for Gabriel Moya, 13 for Alberto, 3 for Antonio, 13 for Theo Resale, and 3 for Gina Segura. Segura, however, I don't know how you meant to say that. Actually, I don't know. 3 laps to go in this race, and it's just dominantly led by Haquin Vigley. He's in a different sector to the cars behind. You see a dominant race, and you're seeing it here, 9.1 seconds in the lead. I think we could even reach the biggest winning margin of the entire season. I'll have to double check it, but it's set to be the biggest winning margin of the season. And then also after this race, I can get together 2025's no assist results as well. See who's done the best, who's done the worst. Gabriel Moya now gets past his teammate for P7, starting to work together really. At Ventari, they know they're going to struggle. They know this is probably where they're going to be by the end of the race. So it's now just trying to make it to the end of tonight. That's the main thing for them. But I've also noticed Benjamin and Marcos Guerrero have actually caught up to second, third, and fourth of Robin Langenbush, Ken Fisher, and Ryan Capozzi. That's gone down for about a 4-second gap. So Benjamin he's very quick out there at the moment. I'm surprised that he's actually caught up by sort of that 4 seconds to the top, to those 3 drivers in front of him. So possibly, just possibly, OMB might be in for a podium. I mean, if Benjamin gets in front of all of these 3 drivers, that will still be a solid 15 points on for OMB. And on top of the 5 points for his teammate as well, that's not bad. David Kupzik gets a 3-second time penalty though. Won't affect his finish. Still would be P11. But for Benjamin here, if he gets to P2 and he takes a podium, it's still going to be second best. It's still going to be second from OMB in the point scorer. It's going to be third. VRE won't score the most points this evening. They will be second with SCT in first. So OMB set to sit around third in the point scoring. But it's a mistake. It's a mistake from Ken Fisher that's really allowed Ryan Capozzi to get onto the back of him. Will FCT try to take 5th in the standings? They can take 5th. At the moment, they might take 5th. I don't think they will. Actually, no, they will. They might just about make it. I'm not 100% sure. I think they'll get up to 30 points, so they will get ahead of AERT and AZR. So they will pull up into 5th in the championship, but it depends. If ESPL finish where they are, it will be FCT who ultimately take 5th in the standings into the winter break. But we're on the final lap now, and we're all looking at these drivers as these 5 drivers make their way down this back straight. Alberto gets another 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help his evening at all. as now everybody races around any moves. No, everybody stays incredibly close and no moves from any of them. But here comes Ryan Kaporsi. He's throwing everything he's got down this straight. He knew that the SET drivers would be pushing, trying to go around the outside. He's not going to be able to do it. Can he get the switch back? He's pushing everything he's got, but he can't. But we've got to look to the final corner. Quinn Vigley up to the line. He wins in Australia for the first time in FRLT. No assists. Season number 6. And it's going to be Robin Langenbush to finish second. Ken Fisher third. Ryan Kaporsi fourth. Benjamin in fifth. We're going to wait to see Gabriel Moya sixth. So it's a good recovery from himself. And it's going to be Tom Wolfgang in sixth, actually. And then Marcos Guerrero in eighth. Alberto gets another penalty. Here comes Antonio, who actually finished as P9. So a solid day for himself. Theo Resole coming around the final corner now to cross the line. He gets another penalty. Here comes David Kupzik, who crosses the line. He finishes P11 at the end of the day. And it's just Gina Segura. I have to say, a lot of retirements this evening. Very surprised. 6 retirements in tonight's race. Very strange to see. Very, very strange to see. And I do apologise. I thought my game was about to crash. I do apologise. That's why I put my mouse on the screen, because I was like, please don't do that to me. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Indeed. I've got to say, incredible race. 2 Germans on the podium and an Argentinian. Been a while since we've actually seen that. I can't remember the last time we had an Argentinian win a race. Trying to think. I can't remember one, actually. Maybe Juan Fangio. That's the only Argentinian driver I can think of. But double podium for SET at the end of the day. And much like real life McLaren, it's a Red Bull versus 2 McLarens here tonight. And Ken Fisher also got the fastest lap in the end. Quinn Vigley wins from the front row. Then Robin Langenbush in second with his teammate Ken Fisher in third, finishing off the podium. Then it's going to be Ryan Kaporsi, Benjamin, Tom Wolfgang, Gabriel Moya, Marcos Guerrero, Antonio, Alberto, David Kupzik, Theo, Gina Segura, and then the retirements being Mars, Batiste, Reyes Toma, Alvarez, Steve, and Manolo. I have to say, very interesting. We are going to actually get, hopefully, I'm hoping we're going to get some interviews this evening. We are going to get some interviews from some people. We'll see who actually wants to do interviews or not. So that will be interesting. I just gotta ping everyone for it. So yeah, incredible race. If I will point out my drive of the day now. Actually, I'll do that right now. I'll point out my drive of the day. My drive of the day has got to be. It's got to be Ken Fisher. The moves have been brilliant. Absolutely some brilliant moves from all of them. I'm just waiting for everybody to join the VC quickly in Discord. I'll wait and see, and then I'll drag everyone in, and then we'll go person by person. So what we'll do is so we'll most likely interview SET first with Ken Fisher, Robin Langenbush, and then Epic Zach, their owner and manager, as well in there. So we'll have basically the entire SET team in there. That's what we'll have. So we're just waiting on Epic Zach, see whether he decides to join or not. Let's see, he's online. He's just this guy. So what we'll do, while we wait, we'll do Haquin Vigley. Haquin, welcome to the interview box. I'm doing a bit of a reverse today with it because SET are just so slow at joining. But with that, you have won your first ever race in FRLT. How do you feel?
Hi, Epic. And yeah, this is really nice today. And good setup also. We made a good setup. Quali was a bit difficult with all the difficulties that has this track, you know. With all the track limits and all the pianos, it's really difficult this track to name the lap. I take a decent lap. I take P2 on that in race. My pace is gonna be higher. With all the problems, I know what happened there. I saw a Sauber killing Tom, and I know what the Williams guy tried to do with me. But usually I race alone since all of that. And yeah, I try to conserve a bit the tires because it was unnecessary to push, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, really nice pace in cleaner. I think could not be better, the pace in cleaner. I was a bit faster than the
about 10 seconds in the lead of the race, almost 10 seconds reached, which is it surprised me, especially from how close it was during, the first 20 laps of the race. The fact that you were in this sort of battle with Baptiste Van Koy for the entire thing, and then it kind of fell apart. And on Baptiste Van Koy, what happened down the back straight? What's, from your angle, sort of, what kind of happened there?
I attacked from the inside to I think it was VNT guy. I attacked in the inside and he tried to go more in the inside and he crashed into me. He hoped for nowhere space, for nowhere space. He tried to attack me in the inside and was no space and we collided.
I have one final question for you. Do you feel like now going into the winter break, of course, as this is the final race in FRLT of the entire year and also the final race of assists in 2025, do you feel like this is a positive end to the year? Do you feel like going into 2026, do you feel like the return after that, do you feel like you could carry that through?
Yeah, some reaction, some bad lucks in some races. Consecutive bad luck. Always fighting for podium and a lot of things happen. But, well, you got a good finish for 2025. I'm going to, with this pace, try to maintain this pace and this luck. So, for the 2026 and finish well the championship.
Ultimately, thank you for joining the interviews. Usually I don't get many people through here, but congratulations on your win, and I can't wait to see you racing again in January.
Thank you.
So with that is your race winner. That's what he thinks. Give me a second. I'm dragging everyone in. So hello to all three of you. Ken Fisher, Robin Langenbush, and Zach, of course. I think this is the first time I've had three other people in an interview, but in the end, what did you think of that race?
It was a very good race. I think we couldn't have caught up to VRE. I really did not watch the entire race, but I knew that we should have been going for a podium, and that's exactly what we did and we accomplished.
I have a question for you, Ken Fisher, if you are indeed here.
Yes.
Yes. How in qualifying, I saw, of course, I think you were P12. You qualified.
Yeah.
Sort of, how did your pace change from qualifying to the race? Sort of, where did you seem to find that you were just stronger than others?
So basically, Robin and I went for the race setup and not for the quali setup because in the race there are points, and yeah, that's why we were not that strong in the qualifying and better in the race.
I'll also give a question to you, Robin.
Yeah.
When it came down to it, do you think, in the closing laps, of course, you had the FCT driver who got close to you, and I think someone else also got close. I think it was an OMB that got close. Were you guys kind of talking with each other and sort of using teamwork to hold on to a double podium?
Yeah, we have teamed because we had problems with our tires, and we saved them together, worked together, and tried to get a double podium here.
Okay. I have one final question just for Zach here. How do you feel going into the winter now that you guys have a strong hold on the championship? I think you guys have a 26-point lead, possibly less. I think it's about 20-point lead in the championship going into the winter break and into 2026. Do you feel like the championship do you feel like it's within grasp early this season, or do you feel like there's still a long way to go?
Well, we can have a relief because VNT did not do very good today, and that really benefited us. I would say the championship is up for grabs, but we've not cleared it, right? Anything can happen in the next few races, like we've seen before. So I wouldn't count any team out, but I would say that now we have a better relief because we're so far ahead into the lead. So that really helps.
Well, thank you to all three of you for joining for interviews. And best of luck going for the rest of the season. And, of course, for next race and stuff, it will be great to see you guys again at some point during this season. Also, just to say, good job on the race, and hope you guys have a great break over Christmas. And, yeah, see you around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You too.
Thanks. So with that is the end of the evening. And what makes me a bit sad about this this race is, of course, it's the last race of 2025. Not just in assists, but it's the last race of FRLT in 2025. It's not just the end, like we saw with assists on. It's not just the end for no assists, sorry, but it's not like what we saw in the end for assists on Wednesday, where there was still one more race to go, but it was the final race for that championship. It is truly the final race of 2025 here in FRLT, and I've got to say, what a year it's been. But yeah, it's been an incredible year, and it really has been a year that I've enjoyed. It's another year of racing, and I can't wait for 2026 to see what we're gonna get. But of course, we started 2025 in season 3, very similar to how we're going to be starting. We're going to be midway through season 6. We were midway through season 3 at the start of this year. But we've gone through half of season 3, season 4, and season 5, and they've been incredible seasons. And we're making our way through kind of the first half of season 6. And I've got to say, from all of the races this year, it's been so incredible. And I just want to say One big thank you to everybody who helps in FRLT, moderators, lead moderators, stewards, absolutely everybody. They've been so much help this season. Also big thanks to the drivers and teams. Honestly, without them, we wouldn't have FRLT. Of course, it's absolutely, they give so much support and so much backing. They help so much with so much stuff. They're always willing to help. So yeah, it's been really good. And also, massive thanks to you guys for watching across the entire year. I know it's been an interesting year and it's been an interesting few seasons, but thank you to all that watch every single stream and every single race and every single race in the season. You know, it means so much to me to have built this over this year. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. For one very, very sad but final time in 2025. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
Feel like we're falling away. Maybe I just need to feel nothing to make it easier to turn away, leave. Maybe we're fanning the flame. So why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore. I can't hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away, away, yeah. I don't wanna crash anymore. I can't hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away.
Here in Monza, and it is a race opening victory for Eve. I'm still battling with Kuba.
You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come. I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices and guide you. Give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you all.
But he's gone wide!
Night,
He's going
hang on till you
incredible!
take a chip to win, alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light.
So quiet, try to hide it. If a new thought formed, we would swallow it down. Empty stares, never question the illusion. If you play alone, they will leave you to drown. Stand up, 'cause we are the movement.